At a campaign event in Virginia Tuesday, President Joe Biden blamed a heavy travel schedule for his disastrous debate performance last week when he appeared disjointed, frequently lost his train of thought. Biden said, quote, "Didn't listen to my staff and came back and nearly fell asleep on stage," unquote. Meanwhile, the New York Times has a new report out today saying Biden's aides who've encountered him behind closed doors say he's increasingly appeared confused or listless or would lose his thread of thought in conversations. This comes as Biden's facing growing calls to step aside, to not run for president again. Biden is meeting with Democratic governors today behind closed doors. He's later due to campaign in Wisconsin, but will not be joined by Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin, who faces a competitive re-election and will be campaigning elsewhere in Wisconsin. At least 25 House members are reportedly preparing for a call for Biden to step down, and faced his first call from a sitting Democrat in Congress to withdraw from the presidential race. Congressmember Lloyd Doggett of Austin, Texas, spoke on CNN.
And I think we would be better off if we had a new candidate who could present a new vision for our country. And we can do that if we have an open and fair democratic process over the next few weeks.
Also on Tuesday, former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said Biden's debate performance made a, quote, "a legitimate question to say, is this an episode or is this a condition," unquote. Meanwhile, a key Biden ally, Democratic Congressmember Jim Clyburn of South Carolina, told MSNBC's Andrea Mitchell he would support Vice President Kamala Harris if Biden withdrew, though he wasn't calling for that at the time.
How would you feel if they worked around and tried to go around Kamala Harris because of her lack of high poll numbers and popularity and broadly based? Do you think it's hers to have if it is not his?
I will support her if he were to step aside.
For more, we're joined by James Zogby. He's president of the Arab American Institute, but was a longtime member of the Democratic National Committee's Executive Committee from 2001 to 2017. He is a longtime member of the Democratic National Committee. He's proposed to the DNC chair what he says would be an open, transparent, and energizing process for the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, to choose its nominee if Biden steps aside. Jim Zogby, this is the raging question everywhere. Can you talk about what that process would be? What exactly would happen if he did it before the convention, what this process is, during the convention, or after?
Well, thanks, Amy. I've been pleased that in just a few days this has garnered so much support and discussion among Democrats, including Democrats on the National Committee. My goal was to not allow this to be left to the fates. Joe Biden steps down and Lord knows what we do. I was trying to lay out a process that would create an organized and very democratic and transparent process to choose a new nominee. It would basically compress the primary process into a month. There are 400 plus members of the Democratic National Committee. It would convene, nominations would be open, and we would get a requirement that anyone who wanted to be president or run in this primary would have to have the signature of 40 sitting members of the Democratic National Committee, including at least 4 from each of the 4 regions of the party. Now, since there's only 400 plus members, very few people could actually do that. It would be people that we know. It would be Governor Whitmer, it would be Cory Booker, it would be Kamala Harris and Governor Newsom and Governor Pritzker and maybe Governor Shapiro from Pennsylvania. People who already have a constituency and have states with members, enough members on the DNC that they would be able to get the required 40 in a week's time. Then they would begin to campaign. They'd be certified by the secretary as legitimate nominees. They would show they have a national base of support among elected Democratic Party officials. And then the party would organize a couple of town halls, televised town halls, where the candidates would appear. We'd go to the convention, and it would be like the convention of 1960, where it'd be wall-to-wall campaigning for delegates, the elected delegates, most of whom are Biden delegates. He would release them. And it'd be pretty exciting. The networks, the media would cover it wall to wall, as opposed to the way they cover these scripted conventions now, which maybe give it an hour or two each night. We'd have nominations from the floor. We'd have the speeches given. We'd have the horse trading taking place between state delegations. And an eventual nominee would be elected, probably.